Minister, I want to ask you about the review into the workings of GSOC and the limitations compared to a full investigation in view of the recent cases, particularly involving the killing of Geroge Nkencho, but also previous investigations that were completed by GSOC, and I'm talking here in relation to Shane O Farrell and Terence Wheelock. Senior officers in GSOC have complained about a lack of staff, and yesterday in the Irish Times there was a report that the senior Gardaí are refusing to carry out investigations on behalf of GSOC as part of an industrial reaction, industrial relations
Thanks,
action.
Deputy. None overtime.
And thank you, Deputy, for raising this issue. The Garda Síochána Ombudsman Commission is the body specifically established, designed and equipped to investigate complaints of alleged criminality or misconduct by members of An Garda Síochána. I can assure the Deputy that GSOC has extensive powers under the provisions of the Garda Síochána Act 2005 to perform this function. If GSOC believes that a suspected criminal offence may have been committed by any member of An Garda Síochána, they are obliged to conduct a full criminal investigation. And it should be noted that GSOC's designated officers have all the powers, privileges and immunities in the course of their duty as those that apply to a member of An Garda Síochána. The GSOC also has the power to refer a case to the Director of Public Prosecutions following the outcome of its investigations, where this is deemed the appropriate course of action. Clearly, these are powers that are not available to other forms of independent statutory inquiry, such as a commission of investigation or a tribunal of inquiry. With regard to the specific cases that the Deputy has raised, I hope she will understand that I cannot comment on any ongoing investigation by GSOC or on the outcome of any previous investigations. As Minister for Justice, I have no role in any such decisions. They are matters strictly for GSOC, whose independence is a crucial part of its oversight role. It is not the case that the investigation of these or other serious matters would have been more effectively or expeditiously achieved by means of a commission of investigation or other form of inquiry for the reasons I have mentioned. I can also assure the Deputy, however, that there is ongoing engagement by my department and GSOC to ensure its powers and facilities are commensurate with its important role, most recently in the context of implementing the recommendations of the Commission on the Future of Policing in Ireland.
I can well understand how you can't comment on the Geroge Nkencho case because it is ongoing. However, it's worth noting that this 27-year-old man with mental health problems, his inquest recently opened, and it was evidence was given by the coroner that he was shot 5 times in the back by armed Gardaí, and key witnesses were not questioned for up to 8 days after that event by GSOC. You keep repeating that GSOC is robust and independent and has full oversight, but I think the evidence is there, even from the heads of bill that is being published, that there needs to be a review into the role of GSOC and its robustness and its independence. So, for example, there have been historic failures in the case of Shane O Farrell and in the case of Terence Wheelock. And we need to know what is going to be done about addressing the historic failures, because they are many years old now. And it is an important thing to note that part of the heads of bill call for stronger powers to be given to GSOC, for example, to make unannounced visits to Garda stations, which probably indicates that they don't have that power. A bit like the HSA not having the power to make unannounced visits to meat factories.
Thank you, Deputy. As you mentioned there, the proposed bill, which will be subject to further consideration by the Oireachtas, which is the Policing, Security and Community Safety Bill, it will strengthen and reform the oversight and accountability of An Garda Síochána. Some of the proposed reforms include the move to a single Ombudsman model and the granting of a separate vote for the Ombudsman, an expanded remit to include Garda staff for the first time, requiring all complaints other than minor service level type complaints to be investigated by the Ombudsman, introducing a new streamlined, simplified approach to investigating while ensuring appropriate safeguards to protect the individual's right to fair procedures and natural justice. And these are just some of the reforms proposed by the recently published general scheme, and I do look forward to working with the Oireachtas as it considers the bill,
Minister.
and to further strengthening policing and oversight of policing in Ireland. Thank you.
Minister, I do have to say to you that you just keep repeating that it's independent and robust doesn't cut the mustard. Even the Ombudsman himself says they're understaffed and that it needs reform. And there's a report here that says 42% of all GSOC-initiated cases have been referred back to the Garda inspectors themselves. This is the work that they're refusing to do, which has increased hugely during 2020. And there has been a huge increase also in the very serious cases to be investigated by GSOC. Now, my point is here, and you're not really addressing it, there have been historic failures, there have been historic complaints, we've debated them so often here in the Dáil, and there's going to be an increase in the campaigning to have them addressed, particularly in the case of Shane O Farrell and Terence Wheelock. And you're not answering the question of what can be done with the historic failures of GSOC. If there weren't failures or weaknesses, then there wouldn't be a requirement for a review, then we wouldn't have a situation where the Ombudsman himself is complaining, or herself complaining about the lack of staffing in GSOC.
Thank you. Well, Deputy, I said in my initial answer that GSOC has the power to bring criminal charges against members of An Garda Síochána following the outcome of its investigations, where GSOC deems this to be the appropriate course of action, and these are powers that are not available to other forms of independent statutory inquiry, such as the Commission of Investigation or the Tribunal of Inquiry. And just in relation to the report in the paper yesterday, regarding the pay claim of superintendents and chief superintendents, the Workplace Relations Commission is currently hosting conciliation talks on this issue between the Garda associations. Efforts are ongoing to arrive at a solution that will be agreeable to all of the parties involved, which include Garda management and officials from both my department and the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. So, as the Deputy will be aware, the Garda Commissioner is responsible under Section 26 of the Garda Síochána Act for the administration and the management of Garda business.